Ciao Facu! Come stai?
Aspetta. Tutto bene te?
Tutto bene, tutto bene. Ciao, ciao Fabio. Tutto bien?
Ma Enrico, oramai sei ovunque, guardo dappertutto, ci sono i seminar di Ricco, Sudafrica, Colombia. Mica, ma non riposi mai, cioè, hai cominciato con
No,
una
ma va
roba così.
bene. Qua diciamo che la cosa che è buono, no? Che posso fare questo da qui, poi fuori, gioco con i miei nipotini, miei nietos, ¿no? Me diverto. Después estamos haciendo esto que 5 o 6 horas por día, que para mí es
Ah,
mejor. Si no,
sì, sì, sì.
cuando trabajo bebo té o café. Si no estoy trabajando, bebo vino, gin tonic, whisky. Questo sarà un gravissimo problema. What's up, Felix?
What's up, Rico? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, we're just talking here. It's actually, like I said, and I told Tony, this is great for me because I love to talk water polo, and water polo is my passion. And then to be able to see friends and talk to friends and stuff like that, it's actually great.
Yeah, no, I'm so. It's crazy how something like this had to happen for us to.
Isn't it the truth? I forgot what it was. I think it was Friday. And I heard from like 5 or 6 guys that, good friends, but because of all of us being all over the place, we haven't been able, to connect.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things about the Zoom is that we can connect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we think that we didn't even think about it in the past, but this is great, man. You can,
Yeah.
and I was Zooming with my daughter, Zooming with my grandson every morning. Every morning I get up at 7 because he's in Italy.
Yeah.
So every morning I get up at 7 and I Zoom with him because over there it's like 4 in the afternoon. And we read a book. I read a book to him and we talk for about an hour. I mean, I could have done that 2 years ago and I haven't done
I know.
it.
Isn't it crazy?
I think it's actually great.
Yeah. We just got to make sure that we don't forget about these things
That
and
is
continue
true.
to do it.
I was talking to a couple of friends of mine, their own platform businesses, and they were saying that I think the whole idea of conferences is going to change. Why should you pay somebody in a sense to, all this money to get on a plane, to get on this, when this kind of conference, you can actually do it? Because a lot of times when you go into a conference, all you do is staying in front of it and doing this anyhow.
Yeah.
But then you got to pay his ticket, you got to pay his food.
Hotel.
Actually, this is actually better, and it's only getting better.
Yeah.
And then instead of doing, let's say, 4 conferences a year, you do one big one that you bring the person, but then follow up with 3 of us. This is the part that I think is genius.
Yeah.
Is that why not do one big conference and then a follow up every month through here? See, that's a great package.
Yeah.
And so you're getting the education at the same time you're getting that, the loving care.
I still think there's something about in-person stuff and the relationships you have, but you're right. Doing this.
And that's what I say. I don't think it's a question of us getting rid of that, but I think what it is, like a lot of times, for example, like I've done clinics now, I believe in 31 countries, right? And a lot of times what happens with those clinics is that, they want you back, but it's expensive. It's not even, I'm not even talking about I'm expensive because that's not the case. So whatever it is to actually help water polo, I do it for, for very little. But, the flights are getting more and more expensive. The hotel stay is more and more expensive. And even the time alone is more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying now is this. Let's say you do a clinic. Let's say somebody comes in January, because that's what they're asking me to do. Let's say I come in January, do a clinic for like 5 days, 6 days, like a really good clinic of like 6 hours a day for coaches, athletes, whatever. And then what you do is you do February, March, April, May, June, you do a coaches clinic through Zoom to go over, is this working? Do you have any questions? Go over the things that needed to be done. And I think that's a way to do it. You know, that way you can you can do once a year or twice a year and still have a follow-up every 6 weeks. And I think that's going to really help out.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That is going to probably the one of the biggest benefit of this is that you have that one big meeting, right? But then you can have breakup, once a month or every other month meeting to reinforce what you learned and remind about certain things. And without a doubt.
Because that's what it is. I mean, sometimes I put Tony always laugh, because wherever I go or whatever, doesn't matter where I've been, I always have a kind of a little calendar in somewhere what I can get up in the morning. Whenever I sit down to eat, I look up. Like mine right now is right here on my left side. Because if you don't keep reminding yourself what you need to be done, you will forget no matter what. And I'm not talking about just, doing things. I'm talking also about coaching. I'm talking about what drills to use. So that's why I always have everything in series, So if I put up and I say I have down slam series, slide series, huddle series. And then when that buzzword hits me, it is so much easier as I'm trying to write a workout, because I write workouts every day. I probably have somewhere around 3,000 workouts that I just love writing workout. I mean, to me, that's the way I can watch stupid TV, or I can sit down and write this great workout. and then, that's what I do. I just write workouts. But, if I don't have these buzzwords, Tony said, I look like those NFL coaches that have those things with all these colors, and stuff. And that's the way I do it. I look in like this, man, I haven't used that drill in a while. Oh man, that drill over there. Gosh, I think we can, let's create this. And so it makes fun. All right, let's get started, guys. All right. So just to let you know, the template is pretty much done that I told you I was going to do it for you. And that's why on Thursday, we're actually going to write a workout together. I'm going to send you the template. It's going to be a 7-day, 21-day template. And what we're going to do is we're going to work out the workout together, because each one of us, each one of you, each one of us, we all have different, let's just say, levels that we're coaching. So the way I'm going to write the template for you guys is going to be, a template where you can do the age group, and then what I call the development stage, that's high school, and then the higher level. Okay, I won't go to the sprint level, and that's something that we can do. We can always talk, separately, but that would be the guy's going to be an Olympian now. The type of workout, the type of reps, the type of rest is a little bit different. But at least let's take care of the guy from, let's say 6 years old until about 23, 24 years old, and it should cover everybody. These workouts, these templates that I'm creating, of course, I just send it to you, print it, put it in your PDF. I don't care. I told you before, I'm not into, man, a secret, don't share. No, I don't care. You do whatever you want with it. And then on the templates, what we do, we will cover warming up, technique, tactics, specific drills for every single position, band drills, ball drills, even some different drills that we have created in the past. And then with all that, we also go dry land, recommendation of some weight training, and some mental training also. Okay, so we will do is that we'll do, let's say, from a 2 to a 4 hour daily workout. As I said before, the guys only have 2 hour pools. That's what you're gonna get. If you have a 4 hour pools, you're just gonna change, how you work. Okay, so it will be fun. It looks a little complicated in the beginning, but then what I'll do is after I do that, I'll start making available for you guys different shooting drills, passing drills, 2-meter drills, defender drills, post drills for 6-on-5, post drills for defending the 6-on-5, counter drills. So we'll try to build it together, and we'll make it, in a sense, it's kind of like a coaching certification among us, but it's free. You know what I mean? Because I get sick and tired of these things that, you got to go over here and you got to pay $1,000. No. Let's not do that. Okay, let's just all share, and let's come up with this unbelievable coaching certification that we can all share. And then, like I said, as it goes along, we might add another video here, another video there, and it's a constant movement, And I think that's the kind of, that has always been a dream. And guys like Felix that know me for a long time, and guys like Jim Solom that knows me for a long time, knows that, you know what, when I was with development camps back with the Fozzie days, that's how I believe. I believe in basically just inviting as many coaches as they could come and just share everything we had. And I think that's how you become a better country, high school, college group, person, is that we do sharing. We talked about that on a podcast yesterday, how we need to share more. Okay, so let's get busy. I mean, I have 4 clips that we're going to talk about. Today we're talking about center defender and the post-up, because post-up is changing a little bit for what it used to be, particularly for the women's side. So for the girls out there, you, Akari, and some of the ones that coach girls out there too, it is a little bit different, so we want to make sure that when we teach, it is not always the same. There's a little bit of difference. It is a different sport. So let's talk about the defenders first. I mean, I look at it as that there's 6 types of defense, okay? You could call it, like I said, I don't care what the name is. If you want to give somebody a name, it doesn't matter. There's 6 ways that I consider to watch to guard the center, and I've watched, in 50 years, I think I've watched a lot of water polo, and I've kind of seen pretty much every way that I've seen somebody guard. I've seen some of the greatest guards ever in the old days, one style of guarding. Obviously the guarding is a lot of time, the defending is a lot of time, depends on what the rules are and how the athletes are changing. At one time in the 60s and 70s, I mean, it was center guarding center. There was really no defender. It was basically the center would go to the other side and he would guard the center of the other side, and that's how it would be. It was kind of a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 anyhow. As specialization started moving on, you started to have the huge defenders. My goodness, there was a time there, it seems like every defender was like at least 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". And then you start to see a little bit of difference too, with more zones, not so many presses. You're starting to see a little bit of that kind of quick guy, like you go back, one of the greatest that I remember, the modern era of 92 was Bovo. I mean, Bovo's amazing. I mean, he was so quick. I mean, he wasn't a big guy. He's about 6'2", 6'3". Yet it seemed like he was 6'8", and of course, Italy went on to win the gold medal in the Olympic Games. So all of a sudden now what we see is you see these guards. Of course, nobody is small. But what you see these guards, and they're anywhere between like a 6'1" to about 6'5", and they're quick. But the thing that have improved a lot is their leg strength. My goodness, their leg strength is incredible. I mean, it's hard to believe. I used to think that I had great, strong legs, and many of my friends that we talk from our days, and we say, we can't even compare. I mean, the leg workout out there has really, really changed the game. And I advise you guys to really work out when you're, I personally, that used to have about between 25 to 30% of my workout used to be legs. Now it's gone up to about 35 to 40 is legs, and I know swimming did that, right? Anybody that follows swimming know that, when the Hungarians start bringing up the swimming, they're starting to win all the IMs and the breaststroke and the backstroke events. There's a lot of events that use a lot of legs. And all of a sudden, I talk to some great swimming friends, and they say, yeah, we kick now a lot more than we ever kicked before. So I think that's definitely something to come up with. So the six styles that I have is I call the back split push. The back split push is used, for example, guys like Boostley uses that a lot. But some of the large type of defenders, and what they do is that they will take a player, and I'll just take this one right here that's close by. And what I mean back split, you should never be directly behind a center. We all know that that is just not good, smart play because there's something called the head. And anytime you go over the head or anything to do with the head, the referee have a tendency to exclude you from the game, okay? So what they call back split is you take the back. So if you take a person's back, there's a spine. What you do is you will take, you take it, your right shoulder, for example, let's say the back is here, you put your right shoulder right on the middle of that back, and that's a back split. Or you can go to the right side and put it on the left side. Hold it. Okay. I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so you take the back split. So again, if you have your back like this, so if this is the back of a player, you take the back. So you either put your left shoulder here, you put your right shoulder, either way. And then what you do is you're back splitting the player. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drive that player forward. Okay, it's very used when you're trying to push somebody into a zone, like a 2-3 or a 3-4. You know, you're going to go. You never want to be your back, and you're never going to be, you know, completely away from him. You have to maintain some kind of a contact, so that's what you call. So I call it a back split. Like I said before, the back split, if I haven't said before, I don't believe in putting the hand on top of the shoulder. I believe in what you call pinch hand and come right under the armpit, okay? The armpit raise, trust me, is much more uncomfortable for the player. It is not dirty play. You're not hurting anybody, but it's just an uncomfortable situation. You can do it to yourself. Being pushed by the shoulder, no big deal. Some guys are very strong, but you get under the person's armpit and just basically back split and lift that under. No matter what the player does, he is going to raise that because it is uncomfortable. He rises that arm a little bit. And as he does that, again, you can sneak under it. You might even be able to get an offensive foul call on the player because of that. So it's a technique that's used. The reason I go like this, sometimes people try to do it with their hands open, and that's when you get jammed fingers. So, you know, if you just kind of close like, you know, what we call a soft fist, no, not like punching fist, like a soft fist, and just kind of go under like that, and then you can push that way. Somebody asked me before, I mean, you know, if my leg's about 35%, and I'll go back to the second one. One of the things that we do that it was very productive when I was in China, having the money that they had before, I actually put in GPSs and heart rate monitors in all the players, not just one or two, all the players. And what I did was I was be able to see at the end of the game or the end of the play. We actually had them in games, and I started to realize that, you know, when we're talking about vertical swimming, horizontal swimming, total horizontal swimming, that usually happens only on a counterattack, not even counterattack defense, but counterattack offense usually happens more this way. And then of course you have your vertical to horizontal, horizontal to vertical. You have your diagonals to release and stuff like that. When I started checking and mapping all that, I realized that you actually only swim horizontally for 14% of the game. Yeah. 14% of the game is what you do horizontally, okay? It does not mean that you only swim 14% of the workout. It just means that when you design your workout, if you are going to design, let's say, a basic workout of 10 100s, okay? Well, you might want to do is that maybe 75% of that swim of the 100, you know, is done with some kind of variety, you know. So, you know, like maybe 25 is totally horizontal, all out. You can put that on the second, depending on where you are in your drill. You can put it on the first 25, second 25, third 25, or fourth 25. But then maybe you can make it where you divide the 25. This one that I'll give you a 100 that I like it very much. I started with a very hard 25 counter, you know, just like a swim as hard as you can, finish up the last 5 meters with the head up. The second 25, I had them go 8 minutes as hard as they can. And then once they got to 8 meters, they took a stroke back and then went 8 meters as hard as you can. And then we got to 16 meters, take a stroke back. And that was the second 25. The third 25, I had them go every 6 meters. It would just go as hard as you can at 6 meters, and they would just jump up, and as hard as you can at 6 meters, and then just jump up. And then on the last 25, I would start them going basically 10 yards as hard as they can, 5 yards on their back, and then 10 yards as hard as they can. So did I swim? Yes. Did I condition? Yes. I conditioned very hard. I conditioned very hard, and they were very tired. Did I swim horizontally? Yes, I did. Did I swim vertically? Yes, I did. Did I release? Did I work on my legs? So basically you're getting the same conditioning, but you're still using other things. Go ahead, Facu.
Sorry, no, you said the second is like combining with like 8 strokes and then backstroke, right?
No, not 8 strokes. You swim 8 yards or 8 meters as hard as you can, and then just kind of take a stroke like you're going to go backwards, because we know we have to constantly work of the hip, the swivel hip is something that's huge.
Coming back.
And then on the coming back one is, like I said, every 6, you just come back with your back like this and then go forward. Okay?
Got you. And the fourth one?
And the fourth one, like I said, is just 10 meters, always hard sprint. I think one of the things that we need to do, and that's something actually I learned a lot in Europe, you know, I'm going back to the American, and we did a lot of stuff that was aerobic. You know, we did a lot of these 500s, 400s, and we swim a lot. And even some of the old school, we used to do that. The old Russian school also did that a lot. What I went there and I'm finding out, like, wait a minute, I mean, they're swimming a little bit less, but what they're doing, they're swimming a lot more intense. You know, so instead of swimming so much aerobic, they were doing a lot of anaerobic, particularly after that first base workout. You know, that beginning of the year, maybe you're doing a little base, you might want to go there. But then I'm seeing a lot of that kind of stuff and really managing more your recovery. I think that's something that is totally misuse. You know, we have to understand that it's not about how hard you go, but how quickly you can go as hard again. So the recovery is also very important. So that's one way we can do that, answering that question. So 65% of my workout, depending on the time of the year, I would say the tactics will never exceed 25% of my workout. Tactics is either going to be 25, 15, or 10, depending on the beginning of the year. You might go 10, where by the end of the year, you're going 25, obviously, because you're spending much of the time. Pretty much my technical workout, what I use technique, like passing, shooting, shot blocking, leg wraps and saddles and all that stuff. Mine is always the same, is always about 15%. Okay. Okay. So the second one is what we call settle. The second one is called settle legs quarter turn. And what you do on that is that, again, you still come from the back split. But what you do now is that as you see the ball coming in, throw your head to the other side and then throw your legs up with your hips as hard as you can. And as you do that, you almost take a stroke this way. And what you're doing is you're trying to take the 2-meter man from this position, make him turn, and then push him laterally. So in this situation, you're not pushing them out, but you're pushing them from post to post. As you all know, each center likes certain areas of the pool. Okay, most centers, they like to be more towards the right or more towards the left, because remember, as they train, that's how they time their shots. They got their back to the cage. So they know exactly where they need to be to get the sweep shot to hit that perfect corner, So what's important sometimes is to take them away from that, push them laterally. And one of the ways to do that is with a settle quarter turn. So again, you have your back against the back, you're throwing your leg, you throw your leg hard, throw it out wide, pretty wide, almost couple the hips out of the water. And then you come up with that, and then you come with your turn like this. So you come almost like hugging his shoulder, and then you shove him to a side. One of the great things about that specific type of drill, that specific type of play, it causes a lot of centers to commit offensive fouls, because as they see that coming, they try to push away. High knee tilt, usually used a lot by the Hungarians, particularly the big, strong ones. And high knee tilt means you take your knee and you put it right under the buttock area, right by the lower back. And as you knee up, again, it's not a question of hurting. It's just a question to lift the player a little bit. As you knee up, they come under your armpit and tilt you back. And as they tilt you back, they will turn around and take position. The only thing with that is it requires a lot of strength, okay? Require a lot of strength. Because you're not pulling back, you are tilting back. You're not going to get called for an exclusion. But by tilting the player back, taking away his seat, right, by lifting his hips, that's going to cause him to be uncomfortable. And a lot of times you'll try to step out of it. And when that happens, he usually loses about a meter. He loses about a yard forward as he's losing that. So you're kind of pushing him forward without really having to struggle. But it takes a lot of strength to tilt, just to let you know. Front hand control, if you're a smaller guard and you want to get in front of them, and when you get into the smaller guard and you have to control that player, you can't grab this way. A lot of ones try to do this neck hold, and you see that a lot in South America and Asia, and that they grab around the neck. That's something that has been a big no-no with FINA. So now it's being called pretty quick, all right? So, but you don't need to do that. It's kind of like a lineman in the NFL. You keep your hands inside the shoulder, okay? So the same thing is that as you're fronting, what you want to do is that, and these kind of guys, they're quick. So their hips are going to be almost flat in the water, so there's no way to be grabbed. But what you're doing is instead of trying to grab a hold of the guy, you kind of underneath, just kind of go about right here by the chest. Don't go too high. It might rise to the face, but you kind of somewhere in here. And what you're doing is you kind of, it's kind of a pity pat, as I tell to my grandkids. It's kind of going like push right, left, right. Okay. And what it does, it makes it very uncomfortable for the center. Very uncomfortable, the center. And the centers then, what they will do is they'll try to push you forward. And as they push you forward, they'll take a stroke on their back and lay out to be able to tip in, all that kind of stuff. But if you're smart, you can use that. And then once he starts to push you forward, you use his strength of pushing you forward to take one jump, donkey kick back, and then slide around and get behind. But now that he's on the 4 meter, and then you call your zone. Okay. Remember what we talked about before. You're not going to stay the whole time on the zone. You got to move around. All right. The backpack, it's probably one of the most traditional. It's more of the laziest way to play, but it's still, some people still use it. We're actually going to show a backpack. A backpack is when you basically just go, get to one side and just kind of roll over right the guy's shoulder. You can't use 2 hands anymore, but there's a lot of people that got really good of just rolling the shoulder over the guy and just kind of vertical kicking, forward like this. It looks like the guy's carrying a backpack. As long as their hands doesn't come down, the referee will let you do that. I doubt it. Any referee would allow somebody to stay in a backpack for longer than 5 seconds. So it is a part of a defense that I like to be able to throw at them and then get off of it, And again, when we are, I'm a big believer on that. I mean, instead of criticizing the referee, let's try to work with them. So if you know that that's what they're going to do, so basically just do it for 3-4 seconds and get off of it. And then you can get away with it. Last one is what I call the loving play. And loving play is the one where you basically get your face right next to the defender. The defender gets his face right next to the, the center, just cheek to cheek, So you just come to a side, open your hands wide, get your head right there. And then as you do that, just start turning like you're going to turn a 180 turn. And because you are cheek to cheek, there's a tendency, particularly with men, that we don't like to be touched cheek to cheek. And so as we do this, we start kind of moving away. And that, balances our center. And sometimes you're going to be able to get a good position out of that. So these are the 6 that I consider to be the ones you see the most. Sometimes you might see a crazy defense, but why should I give you a defense that you have to be 7'1" to do it? Most of us don't have a 7'1" defender, So these are what your more basic defenses. Let's take a look now at a couple of them, and then we come back for some questions. Let's go to this first one here. And it's the Italy-Montenegro. And what I want you to do, and this is what we call, Ivovic. Ivovic is the defender for Montenegro, and he is very strong, have amazing legs. And what let me take this off so it doesn't cover any. Okay, what's this one? Okay, so it's amazing. So what he does, he controls the defender. Okay, there's a difference. When you have a guy like this, what he's going to do is he's going to use what we talked about. He's going to use the back split, and he's going to pretty much always be in the back split position. All right, let's take a look at it. There he is guarding. See, he's going to go one side, back split. There he goes. So he's just controlling. He's throwing the guy to wherever he wants. He goes to one side. There he goes, back split. See, his hip is out. Come to one side, get off of him. Good. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, so you see here, because that's what we're looking at, even though Figatti scored the goal, what you do see here, and you're going to see that the defending what he does, the ball was never able to actually get into 2 meters. And that's what we want to do on that. And, the mistake was in here. But you see how he's always here? You see that? See how he's just in control? So he has his back. There it is. There's pushing here. This is not evil, but it's doing a good job there, But so he's doing he's constantly, he doesn't allow Icardi to get into position. And that's what we want to do. on that situation, you know. So you're not gonna be always 100%. You know, what I used to tell my defenders is like this. I mean, I used to tell my defenders all the time. I says, I don't expect you to shut the guy down every time. But whatever defense we're running, I want you to take something away. And what I usually do is I used to say, you need to take from a quarter to a half of something away. So if you're going to take away this side right here, you know, this area right here, okay. I'm okay with that. I have no problem. I don't need you to take away everything. So if you're going to take this part away, okay. And then because if you do that, then I should be able to come up with a defense that's going to give me that. So I don't need to, you know, have the, hey, you got to shut down everything. You know, guys, it's just impossible. I mean, there's a reason why every single game in the Olympic Games, all the finals in the Olympic Games since 1992, about 95% of the goals have come out of 6-on-5. And there's a reason for that. You know, the game just becomes almost all center. It's getting a little better, but it still was that way. Let's take a look at one more. Okay, let's take a look at now. Let's do this Spain-Germany game because this is a really interesting one here. I like it a lot. Okay, so on the Spain game, watch the front press of this player. He's an upcoming German player, and of course, Germany does not get all the press that some of the other teams get because, you know, now they always seem to be on that 6 to 9 position. But they really have done a nice job with some good young German players, you know, and of course, they also have a couple of naturalized players. And at Worlds last year and at European this year, they had a lot of one-goal games. I think they're definitely a very dangerous team. Okay, so let's take a look at this kid. Look at him right now. And he look at how he'll stay in the center, and the ball is never able. They can stay on the press because the ball is never going to be able to. You see how he's just always moving around. Look, he goes from a front position, and then he comes in. He doesn't foul. Okay, he forces the ball to come in on a hard, you know, with a hard crash. So they do a good job on that. The Spanish defenders are very, you know, he's very mobile, but he is totally out of position. But watch him again. He uses a little bit of his technique, as that we talked about the front, and he's just staying there. No matter what the Spanish guy does, he jumps right around it, and he just comes right back in. There it is. He's always looking. Look at that. Look at that. He's always pushing them away. There's no way for him to get called for anything, and that's something that we need to train our defenders a little bit more. Is you notice that he's always like using double techniques. He comes in with the inside, goes like this, throw the arm out, and then comes around. They bring the ball around. The moment it does that, he comes in close, saddles it, comes around. So it's a combination of a lot of things. And that's something that we need to teach. You know, I remember, and some of you might remember, but most of them won't, but there was a guy that used to guard from Cuba, you know, back in the 70s and 80s called Del Valle. He's now actually the coach of Cuba right now. And for us from South America, we all remember this guy. Del Valle was not a huge guy. But I tell you what, you have no idea what he was going to do. He was always on your right side and your left side, and he was in the front. As you come back, and then he goes over here, and then you thought, oh, he's going to front me. Next thing you know, he's behind you, shoving you forward. So that's the kind of guard we have to have now. You don't go out and find that big dude in your high school team and just put him behind a guy. It doesn't necessarily mean that. You know, now what we need to do is, particularly when they're young, in that age between 13 to 17, these kids really need to develop technique. Really, really need to develop technique, and they develop all the techniques, and then they can build their own style. Again, everybody have their own style no matter what. You know, you don't copy, you imitate. You know, you imitate a little bit, but you can pick a little bit of this guy, a little bit of this guy, and move on. Okay, so let's go back one more. Okay. See, let's go to this one here, and you can see what I'm talking about. When you got a bigger guy, and this guy here, you know, like we talked about, this guy is going to guard here. His name is Boosly, and he's 6'9". All right, so he's a big boy. you know. So, you know, watch how he will guard. He comes in, and, you know, and he makes it very difficult for the guy to be there. And then he just pushes. There it is. He's just going to stop pushing. No matter what the center does, he's just going to push. There you go. He takes a hand. You see what I was talking about? Putting a hand on the guy and taking away, putting a hand on the guy and taking away. You can do that. That shows the referee that you're trying to play, you know, you're trying to defend instead of just grab. So again, there it is right there. He's pushing. You're seeing the ball. Look at it. He's just turning the guy like he's a big dude, man. Same thing. You notice, and I know, and I'm going to see some of your coaches out there, and that's why I'm going to get away and go right back to you guys because I want to talk about that. And that is, I know a lot of you guys who say, like, we don't want the whole man to score. And I agree with that. I'm a 100%, you know, that the whole man should never, the center or whatever some people call whole man, some people call center, should never shoot the ball. And I believe that. They should never score. The center should never score. You take the exclusion, but you don't let the center score. It's very simple why to do that. The percentage of 6-on-5s today at the Olympic, at the international level, it's about 35, 40% at the most. The average is about 28%. Where a hole shot is about a 70%. So, you know, think about it. Are you going to let the guy score from the hole when he's going to shoot the ball 10 times, score 7? Or you're going to take the exclusion where in 10 6-on-5s, the guy might score 3. It's just a question of percentage, guys. Come on. A lot of us are math teachers. You know, hey, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. So we're not saying that you're going to let him score, but what we're saying is we're going to give a specific shot to that guy with somebody crashing in where he won't be able to fake or do anything else. And then we go to specific areas, elbow, shoulder, or chest, forcing the balls to go up. Okay? As you notice in both of the shots that I showed you, we force the ball to go up. Because for him to actually shoot the ball where it should be in the corner, he has to come forward. If I don't allow that to happen, he has to have amazing wrist. And if he has amazing wrist, then you would never play defense that way. All right? Let's take a look at something here on the board. I'm going to stand up. It's a little bit easier for me. You know, coaches, you know, I get nervous sitting down sometimes. So, you know, let's talk about the defense. Okay, so when we're talking about the defensive part of it, you got to remember this guy right here, that's the defender. You know, he is working together with this guy, right? So he is working together. If the goalie really wants the ball one way or the other, he's usually talking to this guy, all right? So what the idea is that we're going to get the ball to this corner right here, and he's immediately going to take that quarter turn to make sure the ball doesn't come in. You don't want to go all the way. You don't want to do this. Because if you do this, this player can curl, we call it curl, okay? He will curl and release, and then that ball will come in. And you're starting to see a lot of it. Because remember, if I get to my back, that's an offensive foul. But if I'm here being defender, and if the defender's taking too much away from me, I can curl, 360 curl, and lay out, and this is going to happen, okay? So what I want to do is the opposite. I want to be here with my right hand here, but I'm still in control when he cannot curl, right? I can go ahead and play one way or the other. As the ball comes here, you're still in that position. Again, don't come all the way here. You want to be in that position there. Ball cannot come to these two players. Cannot come to these two players at all. If you do that, I don't care what the defender is going to do. That's not going to happen. So now we have this decision. So here is where there's a lot of debate, okay? Why? If the ball comes in here, right, we can throw the ball to the open water. One way. If this guy then comes back, he's almost going to force this defense right here because this guy's too far. Okay? So my advice, when the center is like this, so you hear the center's here, I'm in this position, right? American 1 and 2, ball's at 1, ball's at 2. When the ball's at 2, take a swimming stroke here into the defender, okay? So you're going to take a swimming stroke when the ball is on the way here, just a swimming stroke here, okay? So what it is, again, your 1 is at 2. As the ball is getting to 3, take a swimming stroke. Now, here's what I am different than a lot of people. A lot of people take a swimming stroke and then they come in and guard with the left, like that. Let me tell you what that bothers me a little bit. It's a long time without seeing the ball, okay? So I'm here. Okay, I have to not see the ball, and then I have to continue not see the ball, not see the ball, not see the ball, not see the ball, and then come back here. You know, it's a little bit nerving for me. So what I teach is this. So I'm here 1, I'm here 2. I take the stroke, and as I take the stroke, I then don't continue this way. As I take the stroke here, I take my left hand and I slide my left hand and I come here. Now I'm setting center on him. I'm setting center on him. He immediately, I'm telling you right now, and it will be 100% of the time, he immediately, what he will do is that he will either go under your arm one way or under the arm the other way. And as he does that, I start all things all over. Okay, so again, I come in here, when the ball's on its way, I come forward, but instead of coming to this side and do this from position 5 and 4, I come to this side, but then I turn around and I just sat on the 2-meter man. Okay, and the 2-meter man is not used to that. So usually, like I said, you immediately try to come under or come under the other way to get position. But now the good thing about it is that this happened, this guy can start helping a little bit. And because I am in front, if the 2-meter man comes under my arm to this side, I'll immediately start shoving him to here, and there you go. I got a, you know, an M4 by American standards. That's an M4. Okay, it's an M4. Okay, or if the guy came under this side, it goes this way, then I go regular M. So again, what you want to do, sit down back here. What you want to do is that, and this is the fun part of it, guys. I mean, that's the part I actually love, and we're going to do that when we divide. What you want to do is have a defense that kind of kicks into your defense. Have your individual defense that kicks into your defense. This is what you want, right? You don't want to have, you know, the defense is doing one thing and your defender is doing something else. It makes no sense. I wanted to show you something here.
Ricardo.
Yeah.
That's Felix. So, based on everything you're saying, and I think that this is the last couple of years I've been kind of morphing into the importance of getting it, just like you last said, getting everyone on the same page, because as much as center defense is about being mobile, not giving up your hips and being able to take away, you know, that the pass, it's also about teaching pressuring the ball, because if the person can't make the pass, it doesn't really matter. Also, sure. The defenders that are to the side, like you were saying, like the 4-5 side, not letting the ball get there.
Right.
And so as you're, you know, I'm not a big fan of coming around the front, because I always want my defenders to protect goal side. Worst case scenario, protect goal side. We will come and help until we put the ball back under pressure. But like what I wanted to say is, so what you're saying about the position and moving and just tying it together with the ball, how important it is, the ball pressure. You know, if everybody getting on the same page.
I think I understand what you're saying. So what we're talking about is this. I mean, I am not a believer either. The guy, you know, there's some defense will do that with the center is like at 5 meters or 4.5 meters, and the guy's in front. I actually love that. What I used to do when I had that, I mean, I remember with the Chinese, you know, on the women's side, they did that a lot because there's so much grabbing, right? And they did this, and I remember just having this guy, and on the ball, no matter what the ball was, this would happen. I'll tell this girl here to drive that way, and then we throw anybody here, just throw the ball in here. And nobody ever ran that against me, because if you're going to be that front, and all I'm going to do is hold you in the back, and I'm going to score every time, okay? So instead, I don't believe in that. And as I said before, I don't ever believe in coming all the way around. Only on the transition of this pass here that I believe in. Again, I'm not fronting it. What I'm doing is that I'm coming in here, and then by doing this motion, I won't even stay on that motion for 1.5 seconds, because that center is going to go immediately under, because he knows he's not doing anything. And if he tries to shove away from you, so he's almost taught mentally to kind of come under and get position again. Because if he knows, if he lays out in any way, either you have the 2-meter line that'll help, or they'll get caught for pushing with your feet. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at this one,
Thank you.
you know, what over here. And this is a girls here, because this is something that for you guys to teach girls, I mean, it is going to happen. I mean, a lot of teams are doing that. The Russians are doing that. The Spaniards are doing that. And now you're going to see the Dutch doing that. You know, Italy has a very, very good M. Okay, they are probably on the women's side. I mean, they actually got to the silver medal, you know, in 2016 in Brazil, basically because their M was devastated. I mean, they had a fantastic M, they had a very good goalie, and then the three players up here, they had Bianconi and Garibaldi, and they were just constantly up on the counterattack, and they are very good shooters on the move. Keirolo also did a great job. So, I mean, take a look at it, what I'm talking about, that a lot of them, I mean, they want to get away from that M, since on the women's side, so many people are using the M. So this is kind of a new way that they come in and set up. So they come in the regular center, and then they come in. Let's stop it right there. But there's a double post. It can't run an M on a double post like this. And for us in America, they used to play in the 70s. Double post was a very prominent defense where we used to come back from one side or come back from the other. In the women's side, you can actually play a little bit on that way. There you see the defenders basically push the players to the outside. The moment that this player gets to the inside, you can notice that she's going to get away a little bit. But what you're doing now is you're forcing the outside shot and crushing in there, okay? And then, of course, there was an exclusion on that. And again, guys, you know, let's all of us be smart. I mean, we have to see what the tendencies are. So if the tendencies are going to be, again, let's go back to the board. If the tendencies are going to be that they are going to come in with that double post, you know, they are going to come in with that double post. This person pushing to the outside, and then this person pushing the outside, and then playing, you know, the two short triangles. You know, there's the two short triangles here. No deep ball. So that means the goalie can come out a little bit. So no deep ball. And then they keep working on it, and then this player jumps in there to try to bring it in, jumps in there. And then once that player gets the position, you know, and the offensive player can get to the inside. If the player's on the outside, doesn't worry very much, because this can happen. And this person's taking a pretty bad angle shot through one arm, two arms, three arms. But if that person gets to the inside, this is dead meat, because now the drop has to come from here, okay? Or this pass can still happen. This happens, there's going to be that quick little pass. I've seen that a lot. So it ends up happening, this goes right here. And if you look what happened in that situation, the moment that this happened, then this player came here, this player has to come, this player is starting to slid, and then this player came here. So that's the way it was. And now it's a little bit different, because this guy can't really help. So now there's this water right here that's kind of dangerous. So this person's going to come back, this come here, she ends up taking the shot, crushes the 2-meter man, and it gets ejected. So again, one of the things that's important for us as coaches, I mean, come on, man, we're smart people here, is to see what is creating the situation and adjusting to it. And that's the best part. The last thing, because we only have a few minutes, and but I wanted to say is that on the post-up, because I said we're going to talk a little bit of post-up, and that's what I was talking about. But I want to also tell you one thing. There is, when we go into the post-up situation, right? We have the post-up situation here. The post-up situation is because the center cannot get position. Why would you run a post-up situation if your center is right there, beautiful, right? I'm not going to do it. You're going to run a post-up situation because the center is giving you a position. So the center cannot do it. Now you have four types of post-up. Okay, the first type of post-up is the snug, and that's the one where this guy just comes in here and starts pushing this person back. He swims away, and then of course we reverse the ball to here, and then we're going to get the ball in, and it becomes that 4-2. Okay, that's a most common one, very much used on the women's side. On the men's side, not as much. There's a lot of fighting, and there'll be a lot of exclusions. Okay. The second one, again, the center cannot get position. He's really struggling. Is a diagonal post-up. Diagonal post-up is this person immediately do it here, bring this guy's back as far as you can. This player is going to dish. Don't dish here. Dish to the middle, and then drive across to this post-up, and then this player will pass the ball. Okay? That's the second one. Spain uses that a lot. Okay, that's if you look at Spain, they would do that a lot. The Italians do it, and they do it to both sides. Okay, you can't do it with a left hand on this side because why would you put your left hand on that side of the pool? But you know, you can do it on both sides. So obviously, Hungary, Serbia. I'm not going to use this one because they got 3 left-handers in the team. Okay, so then go back here. That's just, you know, so you have, so you can, you know, come from here pushing, come from here pushing and diagonal. Then of course this next one is, and that's the one you see, the Croatians do it with, Hungarians with Varga. The Croatians also like to do that. Ivovic likes to do that a lot. And that is, again, they unmatch the center. The center cannot get position. Remember what I said, the eye? If the center moves this way, make sure the point man moves this way. So you point and you center here, reverse the ball to this side. This player drives. This player is going to switch, and this is going to come in, and then this guy just basically gets out of the way, and you're looking for that post-up. Okay. So these are the types of post-ups that you can design, guys. This is what makes it fun. Don't just like, well, play it. If you don't have a center, you know, do something. This is the part I don't like. I don't like about, never did. Even when I coach high school, I don't like that. I like to say, okay, if we lose position to the right, you drive. If you lose position to the left, you drive. You got to give them something. You got to give them a little bit of instructions where to go. Yes, some players are going to have to be creative. But if you give them a little bit of that, you're going to find out that that's really good. I'm going to try one more video, and I know, you know, that's all right. I save an hour because I always thought that we can talk. I'm going to show you one more and see if you see it or not. Let's see. Share a screen. Somebody told me I can do that. Can you see that? Okay, you can see that. All right. Because I can see it. All right. So this is the series that I'm going to make available for you guys. But look at this one.
The toughest part of our workout. What we want to do is we want to do about 10 seconds of each one of the works. So we basically have your 10 seconds of just core, like bobbing and weaving, kind of like boxing. And then you comes in basically using a shooting motion. Then we move on to side to side with both sides, both with the left and the right shoulder. And then we'll finish it up with some cervical work with the ball above your head, and then moving it back and forth. This is to be done with intensity, and it should be 40 seconds of hard work.
All right. Did you see that? Did you guys watch that? Okay, that's a series of 16.
Ricardo,
There's 16 of those. Yeah.
on the app, on the 6-8 app, where do I find that core workout?
Okay, well, see that. That's the thing. Tony asked me because he said, you know, him and Maggie had developed all these drills. He said, but Dad, you know, I mean, I talked to Hudna, I talked to Bales, and they said, hey, they felt the best is when you taught them the core and this kind of work. So I just did it last week with Tony, the first set of 16. Okay, I did 16 of these drills. They're all done. I voiced over them. I put the stuff in, and that probably should be on the 6-8 app this week. And again, you guys can all go into it and we can discuss it. But I have 16 of them. And for what I understand, when we were talking to 6-8 conference the other day, we actually got some countries asking us if we can put together the little package for them so they can use that all the time.
Yeah, I've been using the 6-8 app, and I actually have my athletes doing it right now, just because I think it's so beneficial, especially that what you just did in that little pool. I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly, I need to see that again. That's great. So I'm glad it's going up on the app. Thanks.
Yeah, it is going on the app. But what we're going to do too is that, because I told Tony, you know, I says, you know, I got to take care of my coaches, man. I really do. So I am going to do some mini stuff for you guys too, that, you know, even without that, but I will put them in here. And then I talked to Sarah, and she said I would have to, you know, like pay $10 or something like that, like I did with the athletes. But then we can also talk in smaller groups, and then we can I'll put the video on, and then we'll go through it the whole way, you know. So I think that might be a way for us to help each other out there very, very easy. But those will be in there. They have all been voiced over. They've all been sent to Danny, the person that does our stuff, to put it in there. So it should be there by the end of the week. Use it. This is the first set of 16. Altogether, they are 6 series of 16. So these are just the first 16. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not getting. I'm going to put a plug in because I think how awful for what you guys get out of the app, the price is minimal. It's so worth it. I'm telling you.
Well, I
right
think
now.
that's one of the things. I mean, it's not just the app, but I mean, it's like I was talking to Tony. I mean, coaches. I mean, all of them, man. I'm a coach too. You know what? I mean, there's less than 100% of coaches that actually make money. You know. And then the rest of us basically do for the love and basically do for the survival. And then we're making, you know, decent money, but, you know, guarantee you we can probably make more money opening a restaurant or something, or working at McDonald's in some ways. But so there's no way. I don't want to make anything, you know, I want everything to be affordable. I want coaches certification and, you know, is to be free. And but then with some of these things, you know, of course, we do have the cost to have the video, that kind of stuff. And that's why, like I told them, I put a limit on mine of $10. So I would never charge anybody more than $10 for an hour, ever. You know, because like I said, I just believe in keeping it cheap, but yet keeping it, you know, productive. All right, guys. That was a good one today. Enjoyed it. Water polo rules, as I always say. See you guys the rest of the week and enjoy it. If you have any questions, keep sending it to me. Like I said, love talking to you guys. All right, bud. Bye.
Ricardo.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rico.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rico.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Rico. See you then.
Thanks, Rico.
Thanks, Rico.
Great night. Thank you.